I watched my own father stay silent while she tore us apart. That's not a line from a Netflix drama. That's Jim Jones's son talking about Chrissy. Lampkin leaked voice memo, no filters, no script, just raw emotion, and what he said, it's not just heartbreaking. It's damning. She ain't just cheat on my pops, she cheated all of us. She ruined this family, and he let her let that sink in for years, fans thought. Chrissy was just the ride-or-die fiancé, but behind closed doors, she was allegedly entertaining late night calls from Cameron while Jim was out chasing checks to keep the family afloat. Now the son who's kept quiet out this time is breaking down everything, the lies, the betrayal. The nights he heard the arguments, the day he walked in and saw something he was never supposed to see. This ain't no reality TV drama anymore. This is real blood, real betrayal, and a son finally telling the story. His father was too broken to say himself, stay right there, because once you hear what he reveals next, you'll never look at Chrissy the same again. She didn't just break his heart. She destroyed everything we were holding together, and he just stood there watching her burn. It's all down. That's not a rumor. That's a voice memo from Jim Jones's son. And it's now circulating through every group chat from Harlem to Houston for years. Chrissy Lamine was hailed as the ride or die, the woman who waited, fought, and stayed, but behind the designer shoes. VH1 edits and staged reunions was a different Chrissy one, who allegedly left broken pieces everywhere she walked, including inside her own home. And now that house of secrets is cracking wide open because the one person who never said a word, Jim Jones's son, is finally talking. And he's not just talking. He's exposing. Let's rewind. We all remember the quiet whispers that followed. Chrissy for years whispers about an emotional entanglement with none other than Cameron, Jim's close friend, dipset brother, family by loyalty, not blood. Back then people thought it was a messy rumor, just blog talk. But what if I told you that not only were those rumors real, but that Jim's own son witnessed the collapse from the front row? I was just a teenager, but I wasn't stupid. I saw the demons. I saw how Jim looked at her after he found out, but he stayed like it was normal. This isn't a fan theory anymore. It's firsthand testimony from someone who had every reason to keep quiet but didn't. And now the internet is on fire. The leak started with one cryptic Instagram story, just a black background, white letters that read, "You ever had to act like everything's cool knowing the woman who ruined your childhood is sitting in the next room?" No tags, no names, no context, but fans knew, and within 15 minutes, Chrissy was trending again, except this time it wasn't for a new reality TV comeback. It was for what people are calling the Harlem house betrayal, and when blogs tried to reach out for clarification, they were hit with a voice memo, a 47-second clip, no music, no filters, no edits, just a grown man confronting the demons that shaped his childhood. My pops ain't perfect, but the way she played him, I still don't understand how he forgave that. I don't even think he did. I think just gave up. Let that sink in. To understand the weight of this story, we need to go back to the original scandal. The alleged affair with Cameron wasn't just a one-night mistake, according to sources close to the family. It was a 2-year emotional roller coaster, filled with late-night FaceTime calls, secret hotel meets when Jim was on tour, and a series of business trips Chrissy allegedly took alone, but always in the same cities as Cam. Sound fake? That's what we thought too, until an anonymous former assistant of Chrissy came forward. Let's call her Kesha. Kesha worked for Chrissy between 2014 and 2016. And what she says is she'd say she was going to LA to handle a shoot or do fittings, but I always had to book her flights to wherever Cam was performing. I didn't think much of it until I overheard them arguing on the phone. You know who them is? Jim and Chrissy. According to Kesha, there was one night Jim flew out early to surprise Chrissy in Atlanta. He walked into her suite and found Cam's wallet. On the nightstand, no Cam, just the wallet and Chrissy standing there, stunned, silent. I don't know what happened after that all. I know is she told me to cancel everything the next day. She was crying, shaking, then left the hotel before sunrise. As soon as this new wave of allegations hit, fans were not surprised. In fact, many are saying they saw the signs all along here. are just a few imaginary but very real-sounding comment highlights from Twitter X, not Jim's son saying what we all been thinking. Since 2012, Chrissy been moving funny dips at baby mama. She played the long game, got the ring, the house, and still dipped on him. Emotionally, Jim deserved better real talk with Ray. I remember that LHNY reunion, the way she looked at Cam when he showed up unannounced. That wasn't no friendly look, and just like that, the internet had its newest obsession. What really went down in the Jones household, but the story doesn't stop there because, what? Jim's son revealed next took this scandal from messy. Too traumatic. In the second part of his leaked voice memo, Jim's son recounts a memory so personal, so painful, it's sending shockwaves through the culture. I remember being 14 and hearing them fight through the walls. I didn't understand everything, but I knew it was about him, about Cam. I heard my pop say, "You could have told me you didn't have to humiliate me like this." And she said I needed something real, Jimmy. You were never really here. That line, "You were never really here." The internet froze because whether true or not, that's a wound, permanent scar, and now it's out in the open after that night. Things changed. Chrissy stopped posting family pics. Jim looked distant. The chemistry fans once loved slowly turned into awkward silence. During interviews, now looking back, fans are saying the signs were all there. We just didn't want to believe it then. Most dangerous lies, one commenter wrote, are the ones we tell ourselves just to keep a happy picture online. And Jim, he never publicly addressed the Cameron rumors, not once, not even when Cam sneaked eyes at Chris, a track that mysteriously disappeared from streaming the week after it dropped. So the question remains, why now? Why did Jim's son choose this moment to finally speak? And what does this mean for the future of the Jones family? We're about to get deeper because the next voice memo reveals something even darker, something that might explain why Jim never defended himself, why Chrissy never got canceled, and why the people closest to them stayed quiet until now, and why the people closest to them stayed quiet until now. The next voice memo, posted anonymously but unmistakably in Jim's son's voice, dropped at 2:04 a.m. and it changed everything. I didn't speak before 'cause I didn't want to disrespect my father, but watching him shrink every year while she smiled for cameras like nothing ever happened? Nah, that ain't love. That's manipulation. Let that breathe. It's not just about cheating anymore. It's about what comes after betrayal. The silence, the gaslighting, the illusion. Because while, Chrissy was out here giving relationship advice on reality shows, building brands, and flipping tables for drama, Jim was apparently unraveling quietly behind closed doors. And guess who was watching the whole time? His then. I used to ask him, "Why don't you leave?" And he'd just say, "She's all I got, man." That stuck with me. He really believed that, like, she was his only option. People always asked why Jim never married Chrissy after all those years. Was it cold feet? Was it the industry? Was it just his personality? Or was it something deeper? Something like fear? Fear that if he let go, he'd lose not just a partner, but the only structure he'd known, no matter how toxic. Now imagine growing up in that, watching your father chase peace while drowning in chaos. That's what Jim's son is laying bare now. Not for clout, not for views, but for release. And let's talk about this next part, because this right here is where the story shifts. One of the wildest claims came from a private DM that was leaked to a gossip page by an ex-employee of the Jones family. The message read, she had access to everything: bank info, passwords, contracts. She'd intercept his calls, delete messages, cancel meetings without telling him. There were times Jimmy would show up to venues and be told the event was canceled, only to find out later Chrissy pulled the plug behind his back. If that's true, and let's be clear, this ISL alleged, we're talking about emotional control on another level. This ain't just betrayal. This is chess, move by move, piece by piece, until the board only has one king left and he's too tired to fight. Another leaked email, allegedly from Chrissy's publicist to a television producer, reads, Please do not bring up the Cameron rumors during the sit-down. Chrissy is open to discussing the evolution of her relationship with Jim, but the Cam narrative is off-limits. Why would it be off-limits if it was never true? Why dodge a ghost unless that ghost was real, wearing pink mink and a smirk? And that's not even the wildest part, because now Cameron himself is throwing shade on his IG story. Cam posted a clip of himself from an old Dipset music video standing next to Chrissy with the caption, "Some memories age like wine." No context, no follow-up, just smoke. But the internet, oh, it caught fire within hours. Archer Camacy started trending. People started digging up old clips, piecing together timelines, comparing lyrics, dissecting interviews, and it's not looking good. For Chrissy, fans are now resurfacing a 2016 interview where Cam was asked about women in the industry and he smirked before saying, "Some women are loyal to the spotlight, not the man holding it." Many now believe that was a direct shot at Chrissy, and if it was, she never fired back. She never denied it, she just pivoted. And now with Jim's son telling his side, there's a new narrative forming, one that puts Chrissy in the role of the villain. Not the victim. She wasn't just toxic to him, the son says in the final seconds of the voice memo. She was toxic to us, to the whole family, and right there, everything clicked. This isn't just a relationship scandal, this is a family collapse a years long. Emotional erosion covered in designer clothes and Instagram filters. Let's not forget, Chrissy proposed to Jim on national television. She didn't wait for him to pop the question, she snatched the spotlight and said, "I got this." At the time, people called it empowering, iconic boss move. But now fans are questioning if it was just another way to control the narrative to make the world think. She was the glue while quietly pulling the strings behind the scenes, and when Jim didn't immediately accept the proposal, we saw the tension, we just didn't understand the context. Now we do. It wasn't cold feet, it was inner conflict. It was a man torn between love and loyalty, and a son watching the whole thing fall apart. And it gets even darker. An alleged audio leak, again dropped anonymously, appears to be a recorded phone call between Jim and Anne's so unidentified male friend. The audio is grainy, but clear enough to hear Jim say, "She don't even look at me the same. I'd be in the crib feeling like a ghost, like I'm in her way." Let that sink in, not just heartbroken, not angry, invisible. And while all of this plays out in public, where's Chrissy? Silent. No tweets, no Insta posts, no denial, no damage control, just silence. And you know what that silence is saying? Guilt or strategy B's. Make no mistake, Chrissy knows how to spin a narrative. She's done it for a decade, from love and hip-hop to fashion deals. She's always known how to make herself look like the misunderstood queen, but this time the story's getting away from her, and it's not just Jim's son talking now. More alleged insiders are speaking up. People who used to work behind the scenes at VH1, stylists, drivers, even old friends. One DM says she always kept a backup plan if she ever needed to walk away. She had leverage info secrets. And another, Jimmy wasn't paranoid. He was exhausted, he used to say. "If she leaves, I'll lose more than just love, I'll lose everything." Imagine living like that now. Here's where it all connects. Jim Jones's music slowed down after 2015. He stopped dropping as frequently. He stopped touring as much. And the last time he gave a raw interview about love, he said, "Sometimes you stay, because walking away feels like failure, even when you know it's already over." That line hits different now, doesn't it? Because it sounds like a man who stayed too long in a burning house and a son who watched the fire helpless holding the ashes. The fans are torn. Some say Jim's son is just airing dirty laundry for attention. Others say this was necessary. He needed to reclaim his truth. But one thing is for sure, the image of Chrissy as the loyal, loving, drama-fighting fiancé is cracking, and beneath it, a whole decade of secrets that might just rewrite everything we thought. We knew what happens next, the lawsuits, the apologies, the inevitable damage control that's coming. But first we need to talk about the one thing no one expected. What? Jim is planning now that this is all public, and trust me, when you hear what he's been sitting on all these years, you'll realize this was never just about love, this was survival. This was survival because when the truth finally starts to unravel, you realize some people weren't just surviving a bad relationship, they were trapped in a performance, a long-running show where the pain was real but the smiles were scripted. Jim Jones, according to new insider claims, was ready to leave multiple times, but every time he got close, something would mysteriously leak. A private conversation would hit the blogs, a fight would get recorded, an old beef would resurface, and guess who always had the perfect counter-narrative ready? Chrissy. According to one former stylist who worked with both of them, anytime Jim tried to pivot out, she'd suddenly become a victim publicly. She mastered it. Cry on camera, then call the shots off it. The source even described a specific moment. Backstage during a reunion special, Jim was quiet, holding it together, but Chrissy walked in and said, "Don't forget what's on the line." He sat down and never spoke a word after that. Now, what does that mean? What was really on the line? Money, contracts, secrets, or was Chrissy holding on to something way more powerful, a version of Jim that the world could never unsee? But here's where it gets even messier, according to two alleged industry insiders, one from a defunct reality TV production team and another who claimed to be a talent. Manager Chrissy had a backup plan this entire time, a second life, not necessarily romantic, but strategic. She allegedly had private meetings with executives about launching her own series, one that wouldn't include Jim at all. One where she was the star, she was the brand, she was the boss, and if Jim didn't cooperate well, she knew where the skeletons were buried, literally and figuratively now. Of course, this is all alleged, but the timeline starts to look a little too clean, especially when you consider the most recent bombshell, an anonymous audio clip dropped 3 nights ago. The voice is heavily distorted, but what's said is crystal clear. "I told her, if you leak that tape, I'm done. She said, baby, you've been done." That's when I knew I was just an accessory. The internet is convinced that voice is Jim's. And that tape, could it be the rumored footage from that infamous 2014 hotel incident in Atlanta? The one that was supposedly lost, because if what fans are piecing together is true, that footage didn't go missing, it was hidden by Chrissy Leverage again. But that's not all. Jim's son just posted something else. A cryptic story. No words, just an old family photo torn in half down the middle. One side was Jim, the other side gone, and the caption, "Sometimes peace comes with loss." Fans are spiraling. People are DMing, tagging, resharing, trying to figure out if this means Jim and Chrissy are officially done. But here's the thing. Insiders are now saying that Chrissy's next move is already in play. She's allegedly shopping around a new deal, a tell-all docu-one, where she controls the narrative, where she gets to finally speak her truth. And if that's not damage control, I don't know what is, but the people ain't buying it, not after hearing what Jim's son had to say, not after watching years of silence now shatter into chaos, and especially not after what came next, because now Mama Jones, yes, Jim's outspoken mother, is stepping into the fire. In a surprise interview clip from an upcoming podcast episode, Mama Jones says, "I've been told y'all she wasn't right, but y'all said I was crazy. I ain't crazy. I just saw the devil behind the diamonds." She goes off. You ever watch your child fall in love with a storm? Kate? Dancing and lightning, thinking it's a light show, but that storm was never going to stop. It just waited till he was too tired to run. Mama Jones doesn't hold back, she says. Chrissy isolated Jim from family. She made holidays awkward. She made family dinners feel like interrogations. She even hints that Chrissy threw away letters Jim wrote to his late friends, stack bundles. And for fans who know Jim's history, that one hit hard. So now we've got Jim's son, Mama Jones, alleged former staff, and anonymous insiders all singing the same chorus. Chrissy wasn't the victim, she was the puppeteer, and Jim just a loyal heart stuck in the strings. The internet is demanding answers. Hashtags like Chewy Free, Jim Jones, Chin Chrissy, Exposed, and Family first are flooding timelines. Fan-made timelines, charts, receipts, entire breakdowns of when the relationship soured and why Jim stayed silent are going viral. Even celebrities are weighing in. Rapper Mayo tweeted, Ain't no real one going to let his family drown in silence. Salute the son for stepping up. Reality star Kim Bella commented on a Shade Room post. Took y'all long enough to see it. And legendary producer Swizbeats liked a fan comment that said Jim deserved more than staged love and real pain. So what now? Some insiders claim Jim is already in talks to release his own statement, possibly in music form. Word on the street is that he's recorded a full EP titled Red Flags and Rosal Pain, all truth, all him, and get this, he's planning to drop it without warning, no promo, no announcement, just raw emotion straight to streaming, and the streets are ready because, for the first time, Jim might be done playing the role of the quiet ride or die. He might finally be ready to tell his story uncut, unfiltered, and unchained. As for Chrissy, still silent, still no statement, but her team is allegedly preparing a formal response, whether that means a lawsuit, a documentary, or another passive-aggressive IG post. Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the House of Cards is falling. What looked like black love goals on TV is being exposed as emotional warfare behind the scenes, and the people involved, they're not hiding anymore. This story ain't over. In fact, it's just getting started, because for every silence that's been broken, there's another one cracking, another truth clawing its way out, and we the people are watching, waiting, wondering what else they've been hiding. Because if Chrissy could orchestrate all this in plain sight, what else did she bury behind the scenes? What else did Jim sacrifice in the name of loyalty? And most importantly, what would you do if you found out the love you built your life around was never about love at all? Was it fame? Was it control? Or was it just survival dressed in Gucci? Drop your thoughts below, because we need to talk about this. Is Jim finally waking up? Is the son being brave or messy? Is Chrissy the villain or a victim of spin? Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button, subscribe for the next drop, and keep those notifications on, because you already know the next chapter of this saga is going to be even crazier. We've got more audio, more leaked texts, more hidden truths coming to light, and if you thought this was explosive, just wait till you see what's next. Stay tuned, Sano, that the mask is off and the truth is bleeding through the cracks. What do you believe? Was Chrissy ever really for Jim, or was this whole thing one long painful performance? Did Jim's son just say what we've all been thinking for years? Is this the end of a toxic love story, or the beginning of a long overdue reckoning? We want to hear it all. Drop your reactions, hot takes, and conspiracy theories in the comments below. Do you believe Mama Jones? Do you think Jim will finally speak out through music? And should Chrissy even have a platform to defend herself like this video? If you felt even an ounce of truth in what was said, subscribe if you're tired of the lies and ready for more unfiltered reality. Hit that bell, because the next leak might just shake the internet again, and trust, you won't want to miss what's coming. This ain't just drama anymore. It's a full-blown revolution of receipts. Stay locked in.